Hello friends, welcome back to my studio. I hope you're well. Happy solstice to everybody. Of course, down in Southern Hemisphere, we're celebrating this very beginning of winter, and gee, it has been bitterly cold to mark that beginning. It does mean that we get lovely sunny skies when we have a frost to begin the day. It does make it a bit hard to get going in the studio though until the fire's had a chance to heat the space. It is still a good time to be in the studio because it means if I'm working in the acrylic paints, they take that little bit longer to dry, so it gives you a little bit more working time once you get the hands warm and nimbled up. As I mentioned last week, I've been doing some theory on colour, particularly focusing on the pigments in paint. If a paint shares a common pigment colour, how well they marry together and work in harmony together. So first let's do a little bit of colour theory about what I mean by working in harmony, colour harmony, and using a hero colour for that. And then that will make sense when I then talk to you about the common pigments in colours. So as always, we'll turn the camera around and have a look at that. I have here a classic primary colours, quin magenta, primary yellow and a cerulean blue, and I've just got a little bit of yellow oxide there to show later. So I don't think it's a new thing that people know about a hero, having the benefit of having a hero colour. So if we just put out these colours, if we were painting with these colours, we're looking at those and going, while they're lovely colours, they're very clashy. But if we add a little bit of the same colour to each colour, so in this case, and it doesn't matter what colour, and if I put these down, and it can be the smallest amount. But you can see now how much nicer these colours are sitting together. I still have a primary palette. I could make that a lot more blue. But they all sit in harmony together much more than the raw product out of the tube. So that's a way to use a common colour to help all of your colours sit in harmony. And I got thinking about this recently, and I came up with this chart. So each tube of paint has the pigment listed on it. I started thinking about the pigments in particular to paint, and so what I did is created a chart that, so this first one here is the pigment for titanium is PW6. So all of these colours here all have PW6 in them, and my theory is they would all work well together because they all have a hero pigment. They have a commonality. And so then I went through and I've done the quinaquinones, the yellow oxides, the other yellow, another yellow family, into the blues, and my chart is not going to fit properly. But yeah, you can see I've got all of the colours here, very specific of course to the Matisse brand. I found a technical sheet on their website that I was able to get all this from, and I think you can see it's true in, if I get it in the shot, I should have taken them off the board. So this iron oxide family, PBR7, these two colours, Australian Ghost Scum and Ash Pink, look really, really lovely together. So without needing to perhaps mix so much on the palette, you can work a little bit straight from the tube and have colours sit really well together. And if you're interested in a PDF of this, let me know in the comments. I'd be very happy to try and create this into a PDF that you could just download straight off my website. Let me know if you're interested. Some colours, of course, are very specific to the Matisse range, like their Australian range, but mostly the colours are very common to every type of paint. So then I started looking at colours, mixing up colours that had a common base colour. And you can see with these, and I've listed them as my favourites for June this year, you can see how well all of these colours work together and what an extensive colour palette I've been able to create just by having a similar, if I can get them all out. Yeah, isn't that a gorgeous palette? And so many colours in there. Then, because this is a little bit harder to use, I went into, and again I'll just move you so you can see, and I've created this bigger board of my favourites of the favourites and put them on bigger. I just cut pieces of paper up to that size, and I've been able to create a beautiful colour palette. And then I spent the day mixing, and I've got most of the colours now mixed up in tubs ready to go. And those colours are what I've been using in these recent works. That's what they can do. So you can see how very easily the colour can sit in harmony together without really needing to think about it too much, just because they've all got a common colour mixed in with them. And that colour, for me, has become indispensable. Oops. Indispensable. And that colour I've completely run out of. But you can see I've completely wrung out the tubes. Unbleached titanium. There's an interesting story about this unbleached titanium. It is not technically unbleached titanium. It's titanium with colour added to it rather than colour taken out of it. And it happened by accident with a paint maker in New York, I believe, who accidentally dropped some pigment, some oxide pigment, into a vat of titanium white he was making, and came up with this really lovely colour. So it's quite earthy, it's warm, and it just helps mute down all of those tones, all of those colours that you saw. And it's become, I've just ordered 2 big tubs of it because I can't get enough of it. I'm in love. And because I ran out, I tried to make my own, following along the pigment choices. So you can see there again, the PW6 is the titanium white, and the PY42 and the PR101 are oxide colours, yellow and red. So I tried to make my own. I got pretty close. This is a little swatch. It's still a little dried, a little darker. Could have a little bit more red. But yeah, that was really good fun to do. And so I've got a tiny little bit until these tubs, new tubs of it I've ordered, arrives. I can play around with that, but I have got at least a lot of my colours all ready to go there in a painting. And if we come back here to our palette and say, let's go in the yellow oxide, because we've got the yellow oxide here. So yellow oxide, some Australian ghost gum, because it's from the Oxide family, this PY42 tells me it's got yellow oxide in it. A Naples yellow, you can see here the PY42, besides other pigments. And an Australian sienna. Beautiful transparent colour, that one. So look at that for a pigment grouping. That would make a really lovely earthy painting. And then all you would need to do, say we go back to this cerulean blue. We've got this cerulean blue with the yellow oxide in it. That's a bit green. There it is as a blue. And then of course with more of it you can add a green. And come back in with our red. And we can even come in with that primary yellow, and we can really brighten it up if we want. And there we go. So these colours are straight out of the tube that have their common pigment as yellow oxide. And then these are colours that have the yellow oxide added to that. And look how well they all work together as a group. So you can very quickly make up lots and lots of colours, and that's where colour theory can become so difficult, because there are absolutely so many possibilities. But if you stick with the commonalities that occur, you can create very freely and can trust mixing up a colour palette that will work together following that theory of the pigment. So there we go, a pretty quick one today about colour theory. Did you learn anything? Was there anything new there for you? I hope so. I hope it leads you into a wonderful world of new colours and new creativity. And yeah, do let me know if you're interested in having access to a PDF of that little system of grouping the paints in their common pigments. And I'd love to hear what any new colours come about from you having a go at this. So that's all for me this week. Thank you so much for watching, being here. Really appreciate it. And I shall see you next week. Have a great week. Bye.